I'm hitting the record button. So. Council members, if you have anything to add to the project or public, I yield to you.
Thank you, Director Maloney. I just wanted just briefly just greet the members of District 7 or District 2 that are here with us this evening. And we are excited about the progress that's being made on this project. I want to publicly thank this team that's here on the call, along with the other members of your team, as we move forward to putting this project together, because we know that definitely the sidewalks are needed in this particular community to continue the safety and the continuity of just connecting one point to the next. Real busy area, a growing area. So as we address the growing needs of this community, I think that these sidewalks are going to be an extra additive. So thank you so much for allowing this platform for the members to be able, or the community to be able to speak. And just want to publicly thank my colleague, Mr. Pugh, who's on tonight as we share common points throughout Richland County. And so we're definitely working together for a better Richland County. So thank you again.
Thank you, Director Maloney. I want to echo the same sentiments as my colleague, Councilwoman Barron. I understand how important these sidewalks is to the community. My Brookhaven community always talked to me about making sure that we move forward with this project. It's tragic that we had to lose a life in order for us to move forward with this, and not per se move forward with this, but you know, it's just unfortunate that that had to happen. And now we are at this point, and I think it's a good move in a great direction for the community. I'm excited about the progress and moving forward. I'm sure, as they alluded to at the beginning of the call, my Brookhaven folks have a few questions that they need answered. And I want to thank Director Maloney and his team for engaging in the community in this manner. And I'm just looking forward to continue work to make things better. Thank you.
Thank you, council members. We'll turn it over to engineering.
Thank you, Director Maloney. This is Stephen Staley, County Engineer. Just a brief description on this. This project is a sidewalk project consisting of a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk along Spring Park Drive. The proposed sidewalk will be placed from Long Green Parkway to Hobart Road, as Director Maloney mentioned, providing a safe pedestrian walkway and connectivity to the existing sidewalk along Long Green Parkway. There'll be a good many pedestrian curb ramps, and we will have some right-of-way that we'll have to acquire through the process. But we want to have this meeting tonight to get any feedback, any kind of questions or concern you have, so we can address and include those into the design of the project if possible. We've been working on this for a couple of years, and it's just kind of putting another segment together to tie everything in that Brookhaven, Hobart Road area together and make it a lot safer. So also Long Green Parkway, the previous sidewalk project, is out right now for construction bids. We're hoping to get those back probably end of January and start construction on that early spring. So got some good things happening out there. So now I'm going to let Daniel Atkinson take it from here. He's our consulting engineer that has done the plans. He's got a preliminary set of plans that he can show us, and we'll just go from there.
Let me interrupt and I'll just add a couple of comments that have come in, and Daniel can probably answer them as he's presenting. But from Sylvia Beal, how far is the sidewalk from the asphalt? We have irrigation all the way up the road, which can be damaged. Would like to have our landscaper, myself, or an engineer walk through the area of concerns. And also from Chris Kiefer, will the Spring Park Road sidewalk connect to Long Green Park sidewalk project that was introduced earlier in 21? So.
Okay, Daniel, if you're ready to give us a good little overview.
I'm gonna share my screen. I can figure out which one. Mike, you disabled the share screen. So unless we can change that, or you want to pull up the displays. Can you look into that real quick and see if we can do that?
Sure.
But I've got, I'll go ahead and pull up the, go ahead and just start talking about it. So this project starts on the south side at the existing Long Green Parkway. We will tie into that existing sidewalk on that side. We will extend to the north on the, what is the east side, all the way to the north till we get to Cogburn Road. At that point, we will cross over to Cogburn and cross Cogburn and stay on the west side the entire way till we get to what is Hobart Way. We'll have our existing or our new sidewalk will tie into the existing sidewalk along Schofield and Westmoreland and Cogburn. We're planning on removing that or not removing, but relocating the existing speed hump and pushing it back a little south before you get to the intersection of Meadow Springs. We're going to reconstruct that. It's going to be more of a speed table. A speed table essentially is like a speed hump, but it accommodates pedestrians. It's going to be like 5 foot wide at the top, and it'll enable the pedestrians to cross from the west and get to the east. It'll be signed, it'll be pavement marked, it'll be done according to SCDOT standards. They've got a standard detail and drawing for this, so we'll be following their guidance and whatnot. But there's some very minor wetland impacts. As everybody knows, there's an area right north of the Long Green Parkway where there's some fill impacts. It's very minor, but we will have that. We'll also be required to get some very minor new right-of-way from this project, probably from the HOAs like we did on Long Green Parkway. Just in order to construct our project, we have to get the fill slopes and ditches constructed, and unfortunately we don't have the amount of right of way to build the project without that. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. I wish I could share my typical section, but I have the answer to the question on the how far is the sidewalk. So from the edge of pavement to the sidewalk will be about 3 feet, and that's the same as what we did on Long Green Parkway. So you'll have your existing asphalt, and then you'll have a 3 foot grass buffer / just a grassed area, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll have our 5 foot sidewalk, and that meets SCDOT standards and ASHTO requirements for separation. Let's see if there was any other questions.
Mr. Atkinson.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me one moment. Do we have a visual of this project?
We do. We're trying to figure out how I can share my screen.
Okay.
I think Mike's looking into that right now because I can't. It's disabled as of now.
Okay.
But I have some displays ready to show everybody. I know that would help, and I'm sorry about that. We're still trying to figure that out.
If we don't have them before this call is over, could we make them available after the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. I've got them ready to go. They're in an email format that is small enough. I can email out to anybody who needs it. So that can be something we can do. Which is kind of sad because these are pretty great.
Daniel,
Yes.
if you have the spring park, you want to email them to me. I think I can share the screen here.
Okay.
I was trying to look, my link is expired to the ones you sent me. So if you could just send me the actual PDF, I think I can do it.
Okay, I'm gonna send you both of them right now.
Okay.
Okay, they're coming through the internet. You should get them here shortly, and you can share, and we can show the graphics and whatnot for the typical section. That'll help. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what everybody I think is concerned about. As for the irrigation, we're not going outside of existing right of way for the most part, except in these very small areas. So we'll probably have to have somebody on site to go over the existing irrigation in regard to our impacts. Most of the impacts are in regard to fill slopes, so have to raise the irrigation or whatnot accordingly. But we are cutting some ditches, so we may have to relocate that. But it's we're getting a little bit of a new right of what. There we go. I can
There you
do
go.
it now.
You can share now.
Okay. Let me make sure I got the right screen. Nope. Or is this? Can everybody see it? Yes. Okay. Can everybody see?
No. Yeah,
How about-
there- it's
how about
coming.
now?
There we go.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Move this out of the way. So we'll zoom in a little bit. So this is Long Green Parkway on this side, and then we pick up right here, and this is Hobart. So we'll just start at Long Green, the intersection, real quick. So as you can see, we tie into the existing sidewalk at Long Green. We will be creating new pedestrian ramps. And that just means we're creating those truncated domes and whatnot, upgrading the existing conditions. The blue, what you see shaded right here, that is the area of new right of way we have to get. So pretty much in this area, it's just some fill slopes. So we'll be acquiring right away from that. The hatching right here would indicate wetlands that are on site. So you can see we do have a little bit of wetlands. Very minor impacts. We're not going to be extending any pipes, so that's good. We won't be having any stream impacts, which is even better. But we round the curve and we come up to Cogburn. We'll be creating a new crosswalk here to cross over, and have another crosswalk here. And then we pick up and stay on the western side of the road till we get to Meadow Springs and till we get to Hobart. But here is what I mentioned with the speed table. So the existing speed hump is right here. We're planning on removing that and pushing it back to here and connecting to the existing sidewalk in this neighborhood. We would have kept this one the same, but there's no sidewalk on this side. So we figured it'd be better to have the connectivity of the neighborhoods and whatnot. So that's why we put it in that location. So we extend to Westmoreland, same thing here, crosswalks tying into existing, another new sliver of new right of way. That's pretty much it. New 30-foot, it's existing about 25, so 5 feet in some areas of new right of way. And this is all part of the HOA property. So we end here, we'll pick up right here. Still getting some new right of way extending to Schofield. Again, tying into the existing sidewalks, creating that connectivity, new curb ramps, new truncated domes. And we extend all the way and tie into the existing sidewalk on Hobart. So that's the overview. As everybody wanted to see the typical section. So here's the existing roadway. Here's your 3-foot buffer. And then this will be your new sidewalk. And that's all the way from Long Green Parkway to Cogburn. And it's basically a mirror image from Cogburn to Hobart. So it's if you saw the Long Green Parkway typical section in public meeting, this is pretty much the same thing, a 3-foot buffer, and new sidewalk, new ditches, fill slopes to construct the project. The new sidewalk will connect to Spring Park. Both sides or answered that question from Sylvia. It's only on one side, and then we cross over at Cogburn. So we looked at this area. I mean, we can go back and check it, but there were some utility impacts and whatnot in this area that we were trying to avoid. So that is why we crossed over at Cogburn. We do still have the access at Meadow Springs. So it's essentially the same thing. You just have to cross twice, I guess, unfortunately. We can go back and talk, Stephen, about that if we want to just extend it to Meadow Springs, since it is such a small distance. It doesn't make sense for somebody to cross twice. That's unsafe. So we may want to go back and look at that. But there were going to be some impacts in this area that we were trying to avoid, utilities and other things. That's why we did this the way that we did. But we'll go back and look at that. And that's kind of the extent of this project. I really don't have anything else, Mike. Is there?
There was a question
anything
from
you-
Rodney Oldham. How much right of way will be needed? Any relocation of electricity poles?
So as of now, we're not planning on relocating any utility poles. There will be some utility impacts, but I don't believe there's any utility poles. I know you have the special lighting and whatnot out there. So we are trying to avoid that. And I think the only area we're really concerned about was, where was it? I know because we adjusted our plans to avoid it, right after Schofield. So you can zoom in close enough, you can actually see right in this area, there is a pole and a tree or something, and we actually jogged out to avoid that. So we did try to avoid, or we are minimizing, if not completely not impacting any light poles as part of the project.
And then there was a question on how much property, kind of looking at some of your intersections there. I saw where it has a taper perhaps at the intersection. And do you want to explain what that's needed for?
That's needed for our new ditches and pipes that we're constructing, plus our fill slopes that let me see if I can find a design image. That might be a little confusing though. But I'll show this. So this is one of those slivers at Westmoreland. We have to create a new ditch here. So we're just basically grading out a new ditch, and the new right of way is to cover the construction of the new ditch and cover the installation of a new catch basin. So that's why we have to get it in this area. For other areas, it's to accommodate the construction of the new ditch or the fill slopes in the area.
Okay, one of the crossings you were showing is a raised crosswalk, and that's just at that one location, and the other one, is that just a painted crosswalk then?
The yellow is a painted crosswalk. The red would actually be the raised crosswalk. Well, yeah, what DOT calls a typical raised crosswalk.
Daniel, do you have a picture of that raised crosswalk?
This is the standard drawing from SCDOT.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, let's see if I can find an image of what this probably won't be the exact detail we're looking for, but you can get an idea of what we're talking about constructing. So let me see if I can pull this over. So as you can see, it's kind of raised, and then you have a flat top, and the pedestrians can cross over. We won't have all of this and whatnot. It'll just be asphalt with pavement markings and signs and whatnot. But this is kind of an idea of what this is probably more in line, but you can't really see the vertical on it.
Kind of on the arrows.
If you've ever been to Coastal Carolina, they have a bunch of these on their campus. I would say that. So if anybody's ever been there, that's essentially what we're doing. Some people call it a speed table as well.
And what will the posted speed remain the same?
What was the question? I'm sorry, what did you say?
The posted speed for the road?
Yes, we're not touching the speed limit.
Okay. You mentioned it's 3 feet of terrace and then 5 foot of sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
So if someone was looking at the road today, the back of the sidewalk's back about 8 feet, roughly.
Yes, the back of the sidewalk would be about 8 feet from the edge of pavement.
Okay, that I'm going back to Sylvia's question on irrigation, where they have their irrigation. Okay, that so far I'm not getting any new questions. Oh, here we go. Projected start and finish date for the project. Good question.
You want to take it, Stephen, or you want me to?
No, I'll take it.
Okay.
So we're hopefully going to wrap up this meeting, address any comments, any minor revisions, and then put the package out to bid the first of the year. And probably, take hopefully we'll have the permits at that time as well. And then, take a couple months for advertising, and then another couple months to get it approved and a contract signed. So I would say probably late spring, early summer, probably start construction. And then I would figure 4 to 6 months of construction.
I would say we do have to get a wetland permit, and from what I heard, unfortunately, is the Corps, unfortunately, is very, very backed up right now. So just might want to push that out a few months. Apparently, California is messing it up for everybody right now. So just.
So I can maybe add 3 months to.
Yeah, I think I would, just to be safe. It's the process is being held up, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. So sounds like then late summer to get started and hopefully get it completed by the end of the year.
Okay, in the chat, Rodney Oldham asks, will the county engineer show a map of the Long Green Parkway sidewalk design? And then asked, what's going to be done to remove pooling of water near the proposed raised speed table and by the curbs?
So the road is naturally crowned to go sheet water away from it, but that's something we'll look into and get you a more definitive answer. But the road is crowned, it's all going downhill. So essentially the water would pull off and run to the sides, into the shoulders, as in go that way. And let me just draw it out because nobody can see. the water would go that way or that way based on where it is in regard to the center line of the road. Should not be that much water that creates an issue ever. I got too many things open. Let me pull up that detail again so I don't speak incorrectly, but the speed table is not very high. So there won't be a big, you're not going to run into like 2 feet of water. It's only about 3 inches in height. So it's not, if water gets to be too much, it'll just flow over it, and it's parabolic. It's not like you're going to run into like a brick wall or anything. It's a very smooth transition from the existing pavement onto the top of that. So 3 inches, we're talking about that much. So there's not going to be that much water that ever ponds or creates any hydroplaning issues that we're concerned about.
Daniel, do you have the Long Green Parkway exhibit handy?
Yes, I can pull that up real quick if I can find it. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, this is Long Green. Is there any area in particular that we need to look at? I know we're talking about the area where Spring Park is, so kind of this area, but you know, that's on the other side. You know, we'll have crosswalks that are reconstructed as part of this project, so everybody can cross safely. But is there anything you want me to go over particularly for this one?
Is Rodney still on the line? If he could,
Just, yeah, here we go. So people can see the connectivity of Long Green and Spring Park.
I got you.
So
So yeah, you'll have connectivity to the north. You'll have the crosswalks to the south. Long Green Parkway will take you all up. We're calling this north, the north segment. It'll take you all the way down to Heather Green, tie into the existing crosswalks. And also you'll have, you know, existing sidewalk on the west side, and you'll take it to the school. And then you'll have that existing sidewalk all the way to the end of the school, and the new sidewalk to what we're calling Long Green Parkway South. It'll take you all the way down to where it ties into Clemson Road down here. There's existing sidewalk that was built as part of this development. So we tied into that existing sidewalk. It's not shown on this because we didn't have any updated aerial, but this ties into that existing sidewalk. And to the north, Spring Park, all the way up to Longtown Road. You know, kind of the existing same typical section, 3-foot buffer on that side to the southern section, and 3-foot buffer to the right on the northern portion. There is a turn lane out there. So that's really the only difference in our typical sections between the two meetings or between the two projects.
okay. So the question, do the speed tracks, I guess, speed table work the same as the speed humps?
Yes, they are intended to do that. They're intended to slow cars down. This one is wider, so it can accommodate pedestrians crossing. If I could, I wish I could find a better detail that shows the signage and whatnot, because there's a plethora of signs and pavement markings out here that slow the drivers down. That's not a good one. I just can't find one, unfortunately.
those things we at the county, we put those in for our traffic calming policy, and in my opinion, they're lots better than the speed humps. Speed humps pretty narrow, and these speed tables, you definitely can't hit that going faster, or you're going to be you're gonna come, it's not gonna be good for your car.
Yeah, you can bottom out on the speed tables from what I've been told. I'm trying to find a better picture. I just can't find one, unfortunately.
Okay. So given the project timeline, do you think the project would be finished for a start of 22-23 school year? It sounded a little like we started a little late for that, but what do you think?
Yeah, depending on the Corps of Engineers permitting, that'd be the hard thing. So,
Okay. Is there any way to contact someone for any future questions or concerns the public may have?
sure. I think they have on the county website, if you click on the link provided there, they should have our contact information, as well as the Facebook page, the county's Facebook page. And this video is going to be posted to the county's YouTube channel.
Okay. Sylvia Beal indicates that daily cars run too fast and run off the road a lot on from Cogburn to Long Green. We are constantly fixing our landscaping. What protection for children, pedestrians walking on the sidewalks could be considered?
Well, we're DOT and other manuals allow you to place the sidewalk within the shoulder. And that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, we don't have the existing right-of-way out there to place the sidewalk at the right-of-way line, which would be great. I agree. The further the sidewalk can be from the travelway is ideal. But there's just not the amount of funds to go out there and purchase a massive amount of right-of-way for the whole project on this side. Because it would be substantial. I mean, you're looking at probably pushing it at least another, I mean, if you want, I mean, I don't know what you would consider safe. I mean, that's a pretty fluid answer. I don't really know what people would feel safe. Some people might not feel safe walking against the right-of-way line. I just don't know. But it is a very tight right-of-way. Like I said, it's 25 feet now. So there's just not the right-of-way or the funds to go out there and purchase the right-of-way to push it all the way back. We're doing it the standard or what is allowed. If all the money was available, we would gladly push it back, I think, further. It's just can't be done without significant utility impacts, significant amounts of new right-of-way, and just additional costs for the project that I don't believe are accounted for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we usually, the minimum is 2 feet from the edge of the pavement to the sidewalk. And I think we're 3 feet everywhere, I believe. Is that right, Daniel?
Yes, sir. We're doing 3 feet.
Yeah. So we're a little bit better than the standard. So.
How much grading additional of soil do you think will be needed to evenly level the surface for the proposed sidewalk on the left side of Spring Park Drive?
It's very minimum, very minimal. Sorry. I mean, we're looking at maybe cutting a ditch that's a foot deep. So, and it's not much. The sidewalk is going pretty much on the shoulder at the existing ground. See if I can share this. This is a good example. So you've got your existing road right here. Here's your buffer that we talked about, and then here's your sidewalk. So, I mean, the sidewalk elevation is at 416.77. The bottom of the ditch is 414. So you're looking at a 3 foot grade change. No, 2 foot grade change, sorry. So you're really not talking about much. The sidewalk is 4 inches. So, you know, 1.5 feet from where the sidewalk is to the bottom of the ditch. And that's not, you know, And that's just in the ditch section. I mean, the fill section, it's even less. So find a, no, that's the right side, but the right side you can see is pretty much just placing it on top of the existing ground. A lot more people at this one than Long Range, Stephen. I
Oh,
like it.
Okay. From the Brookhaven HOA, Ms. Beal indicates that she would like to get a walkthrough with you in the future. So she'd also ask for contact info so we can reach out.
I know Miss Beal, we talk a lot, and so if you just, Miss Beal, if you just want to shoot me an email and we'll schedule something.
Do you anticipate the construction having any impacts on the traveled way, the driving lanes, or creating any delays for traffic during construction?
No, there should not be any impacts. They'll all be within the shoulder. There may be some temporary lane closures and whatnot, but traffic will not be impacted. And, based on how we're going to write our specs and tell them when they construct it, they'll not be allowed to be on site probably during peak hours of traffic, which are the morning and afternoon schools and whatnot.
What's the anticipated cost for the entire project, including right-of-way, possible utility rights costs?
I'll see if I have that. I don't think we've got that far yet. We were waiting to have the public meeting first. That way, if anything major came out of the meeting, we could adjust and then adjust our plans accordingly. I don't think I have that information available right now, but we can provide that if needed to the county and circle back. Yeah, we don't, unfortunately, we don't have that available right now. But we did minimize utility relocations, so that's going to be good to keeping the cost down because we're not installing and constructing much pipe. It's a lot of just bringing in some dirt, grading it out, traffic control, and the new sidewalk.
Okay, well, if you can look into that one area, having said that, that's kind of between that creates the two crossings. If you're on what would that be? The east side of the road. So you can kind of stay on the east side.
Cogburn to Meadow Spring.
Mm-hmm.
We'll look at it.
Director Maloney, I wanted to revisit the question I asked earlier, because since being on the Zoom, I've received several messages about the information not being readily available where people knew that they were having this event. I'm not going to argue that point at all. But what I do want to be able to say to them is, when's the anticipated time that this video will be uploaded so that I can point them there to the YouTube page at the appropriate time?
We will get it uploaded by end of business day tomorrow, so shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, perfect. I'll share the work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Hello?
I would,
Are we still on?
I would adjourn this meeting then.
Hold on, Mr. Councilmember Pugh, you have you want to say something?
No, I was just wondering, are we still on? Are we still on? Because it was a long pause. I was making sure that I was still in the mix.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. We were just waiting for any incoming questions, but I see none, no new questions at this time.
All righty. Well, thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks for everybody for your participation and coming to the meeting, and a lot of good questions. We do get to keep these questions and kind of get answers to them. So that's another thing. I think we might need more of like a week's turnaround on that though. But as far as getting this downloaded, we'll do that by end of the day tomorrow. So it's on Facebook.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have a
Have a
good
good
evening.
night.
Thank y'all.